Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called Bay at Dusk. It's a 4x6, and I did this a couple days ago. And let's talk about it. Hey, let's talk about it. So the board is textured, and the color that's on there is actually a bunch of leftover paint from a painting session from probably last week or whatever, and I had these textured boards sitting around that were kindly prepared for me by my student. And so what I've been doing, they were textured with black, but I've been going over them with some oil paint. My idea being, when I have a pile of leftover paint at the end of a painting session, just to take a minute and cover a board with it. And I did that yesterday. That came out to a nice dark brown, maybe a little darker than I like painting on these days. This color really supported the painting that we're doing, and you probably saw with a preview image, and hopefully that's why you clicked on it and says, oh, I want to see him paint this. Now, I have painted this scene before. It's like, I think it was 7x14. That was quite successful, and this is a cropped version of that same image. 4x6. I just was looking for something small. I wanted to get something of my own on the channel. I have a very nice Dupree study that I did, but I'll probably just keep that as a filler for someplace where I need it. I wanted to have one of my own. I'm real pleased with the warmth and the coloration of this painting. Now, a lot of that was based on the reference that I set up, which is definitely keying off a sort of complementary color scheme where we have purple and yellow. And where do they meet? Well, they meet with the red, right? So, where they could meet with the red. So there's quite a lot of that sort of red tone running throughout it. And a lot of the purples kind of, basically turn into reds or sienna type tones. The overall painting took me about, I'd say, just under 2 hours. Oh, way under 2 hours actually. It's the live version of that is in the members area. You can find a link for that. And the live area, I go through the color mixing session, and also some thoughts about the reference, things I'm going to do, things I'm going to change, that sort of thing. So you also have an opportunity there to view the reference. So check that out if you might be interested in that. Also, I should mention I'll have this for sale in my store. We'll do like a $149 on this, okay? Which is a very nice price for a very nice little painting. Anyway, so we did our drawing with a just straight up burr number on this one. Now, in a lot of paintings recently, I've been doing the underpainting with a mixture of brown ochre, raw umber, and black to sort of approximate a raw umber tone that had some opacity in it. And that's been working really good. And I definitely do that in paintings where I don't want a lot of a red thing, but I knew red wasn't going to be an issue in this, so that reddish burnt umber tone was just fine and perfect for what we did. And I don't, I could, and I have in the past, maybe even socked in the darkest blacks, but in this particular instance, I decided to go ahead and do that after I'd done the sky and stuff. And so, real pleased with the way the sky came out. I love all the colors in the sky in my reference, which definitely informed the coloration of the landscape. The thing is, like, I don't really love some of the composition of the clouds, but there's a tip for you right there. I'm gonna break out some tips. You don't have to paint your skies exactly the way that the photo is. You can just take cues from the colors and basic shapes and basic flow of it. But if there's some aspect of the sky that you don't think looks appropriate for your painting, then don't paint it. Just do something different, because I'm sure you've noticed that skies change pretty rapidly. If you're photographing a sunset or something, the clouds are moving, things are changing, the sun's moving, everything's moving and changing. So in my opinion, it's perfectly valid to change any aspect of the sky that you want to. And for that reason, I tend to even reuse the same sky reference over and over, because I know it'll look different in every painting. Some cases I might take it brighter, some cases darker. Note that I put that bit of not even close to pure white, but it seems very white, right up against the tree in the sky, and that's something I love to do. Also, the little mountains or hills in the back, I think a great, here's another tip for you, when you have these sorts of shapes in the back, like in this instance, I chose to make it a little more straight, and the line of trees, just below where my brush is now, a little more jagged. They were reverse of that in the reference. I also reversed the direction of the hills. They were going from higher towards next to the trees, moving out. I flipped that because I think that's a good move to make. Um, but so getting to the tip, well, there's a whole bunch of tips compressed in there, but the main tip I want to communicate to you is that when you have these distant hills or whatever, try and paint them in such a way as that they're indistinguishable from the sky. If I gave it, if you like the way it looks right now, it could actually be just a bank of clouds. We know it's some hills, or I know it's some hills. You might think it was a bank of clouds, which would be absolutely fine. It's not mission critical that it be perceived as hills. If I thought it was, I might have done more peaks and things like that. But even then, I would have made sure that the color that I painted those distant hills was something that was knocked back. Same thing goes for the rigid trees in the distance. We've obviously got some water here. It's a bay or something. And you notice I'm getting in there with the darkest, with some black, and the black is actually mixed with a bit of burnt umber. I don't want any of that super dark back there, and your photos will lie to you that way. They'll say, oh, it's very dark back there, but you want to be interjecting some atmosphere always, any opportunity you have to make things look further back. Now I had a bit of a challenge compositionally with the hill, and you'll see me fix it at the very end, and in real time, close to real time actually, where we have this basically it turns yellow and then the hill moves down, and I had like these strokes, and I thought it was doing the job, but I ended up making it its own little tree shape. So the trees themselves, I'm just working off of the, with the darks in there. I just worked off of there with a mixed purple, and again, you would have seen how I mix that color in the members area. I go through the whole, while we're both looking at the scene, my reference, I'm basically going through all my color mixtures. So if that's a place you feel like you're weak and you want some guidance and direction, then it's there in the members area. It's not really something I do on the 15-minute videos, but 15-minute videos are more about giving you some broader tips and direction. Yeah, so a bunch of different things were going on in the water. I decided, because it's so small, to sort of play it pretty simple. Although after a little while I thought, that rigid trees that I'm painting right now, there you see, I thought it might be good to do a little stripe of a brighter yellow there. Yeah, and I think that did look good, although it looks okay the way it is too, so that wasn't exactly do or die. What else we want to say about this painting? Yeah, no, it's definitely pretty tonal, but also a bit pregnant with color too. So would it be considered pure tonalism? Maybe not. It's almost, I don't know what area, it's almost a bit of a Fauvist kind of thing. The chroma is pretty intense in the yellow, and I mean, I could have gone one notch or two more intense, but it is what it is. And I ended up being pretty happy with the overall effect of this painting, the way it turned out. It's going to look awesome in a little, see if I can find a little gold leaf frame or something. It just would look really nice in the little frame. Yeah. So let's talk about maybe the other thing I want to maybe mention was revisiting reference. I think that's it depends on you, you know, maybe you have, I mean, I do have infinite, no, nearly infinite scenes that from photos I've taken that I can composite in a reference. But there's lots of times when it's been a while, like I probably painted that my other version of this scene maybe 3 years ago and sold it on, and I was quite happy with that painting. I remember doing it. Why revisit it, you might say? Well, um, first of all, I wanted to do a 4x6 and I had some reference handy, so there's that. Two, you know, you're going to be a different person from day to day, but certainly from year to year. I'm not the person I was in 2017 or so. Different, you know, and it's okay. It's okay to change and be different, and it's a good thing, really. It's assuming you're working. Where you'll change and be different in bad ways is if you take giant breaks, and then you'll eventually lose a lot of your chops. And it's not saying you can't get them back. Oh yeah, let's speak a little about the color of the trees on the top. You know, that was interesting. I wanted something tawny was the word I kept using in the live video. You know, like a brownish tan with a little red. You can tell if it was reddish or green, but good amount of color in there. Sorry for that. I just came home. I painted all day, and this is about the time of day, 4:30, where if I'm sitting there watching a show or something, I might might doze off. I'm sorry to yawn though. It's not because I'm not totally engaged. I am. Yeah. I was quite pleased with that because I wanted a place where. So what makes it tawny, you know, would be the yellow that I threw in there, and then as I'm working up into the highlights, I kept throwing in orange and yellow into the basic kind of brown that I'd come up with. And it was to good effect. I'm real happy with it. And I really enjoyed that yellow color, I guess of grasses, you know, on the hillside. I think that worked really well. And against the purples and against the sky, the whole thing is, you know, it's really all about the color. And that's another thing that I wanted to maybe chat about a little bit. You know, 4x6, you might go, oh, that's so tiny, how can I do anything there? Well, when I had tourist business, which, you know, I don't at the moment, I'm hoping it'll come back. We're getting to a little slower fix it. Now, I don't mind that shape there that's there right now. I just thought, I can't see what it is. I can't tell. What I did like about it is the way it maybe broke that area up a little bit. But, you know, I decided to opt to do a little like extra tree there. And a little note about these trees. One thing you may have heard from me in the past is trees, I always like to have a trunk. But these are actually masses of trees on like a little peninsula, a little island, part of an island or peninsula. So I didn't feel the trunks were necessary because they're just masses, and I basically didn't worry about it. I did throw one little trunk, as you can see, where the one of the peninsulas goes into the water. You can see a little bit of a trunk there, and just like tree holes, a lot of times you don't need a plethora of trunks. Also, there's a space where just about where my brush is above that, or brush was, where I put in a lighter area that could be construed as a trunk. Anyway, thank you for... Oh, 4x6s, why are they great? Because I sold a ton of them to tourists. Tourists like them, they're good. Also, you flick of the wrist, you got a bush, you got a tree, you got whatever you need. They're wonderful, so don't... try one. And 4x6 is a great size for little ready-made frames as well. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate you coming around, checking out my videos. I know you have a plethora of options on YouTube, so hopefully you got some value from this. Check out the painting in my store if you do want to buy it. Shipping's included. It's free. Yeah, free to you, and as is your satisfaction. We have a money-back guarantee there. So take advantage of that. Take advantage of the members area. where you can get some additional insight. Really, you're in the throes of battle as I'm doing the painting, and that is, it's valuable. I recommend watching both, really, the 15-minute, because I always get into different tips and tricks. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for joining me today, and until I come back with another video, do me a favor, do me a solid, take good care of yourself, your family, all your loved ones. Try and be patient with people that have views that differ from your own. And while you're trying to do all that, please stay out of trouble, and God bless you and your family.